We had a real oral tradition in our house. I knew the word griot when I was a little boy. A griot was a person in Africa who was charged with keeping the stories of the village. Everyone would tell a griot the stories and they would remember them all so that they could tell future generations. And when they got old, they'd tell them to someone else. And they say in Africa, when a griot dies, it's like a library was burnt, man.
The griots were these brilliant African storytellers who learned for generations, the father, the son, the mother, daughter, and so forth, the stories of their people, their kings, their lands, etc., and so forth. In order to instruct others, they would have these huge sessions where they would sit around and pass these stories down and instruct people and so forth.
And the griot is the man who sits down there, who knows the history, who knows every single story that is important, relevant for that kingdom.
What's up, everybody? Welcome to Griot'S. Today, I would actually like to talk to y'all about love. Love is an intense feeling of affection. Now, not everybody can say that they've been in love before, but a lot of people will tell you their sob stories about the times that they were in love and the one got away. Or they'll tell you about the one they're with right now that they truly love. My personal experience is different from everyone else's. I've never met a chick where she made me fall in love, she broke my heart, and then ever since then I've been cold. Some people have, and that's okay. But you have to learn that one experience isn't every other experience. Sometimes you got to let it go. So let's get into this. Why I don't trust other people's advice for 40% of the time? Everyone is not the same. We all have different experiences. We've all talked to different people. Sometimes you might have a group of friends and two of y'all have talked to the same chick, or you talked to the same dude. This is where different variables come in. Excuse me. If you talk to her and you had a bad experience, but then later on down the line I talked to her and our personalities match, it could create something beautiful. The experiences that you had, you can't try and brush off on other people, especially since life is about growing and the process is always different. When you deal with anyone, that experience is that experience between you and that person. So anybody that comes after that is completely different. It's selfish and it's wrong to hold your grievances against that person and try and push it off onto somebody else, because then you're getting in the way of their process. So you got to learn to let that go. Same thing goes with when you actually start talking to somebody else and somebody else walks into the situation. If you're holding on to all that anger and that hate, you're not going to be able to love them. Everything that they do, you're going to be looking at the past experience and expecting them to mess up in the same ways. I know a lot of people that read self-help books, and I'm all for it, but I take those with a grain of salt because of what I just said. The exact same person that's sitting there writing a self-help book, they're going off their experience. You do have some individuals who have in the past went to school, got a college education in psychiatry and different doctorates, and they add on to it just based on when it comes to feeling and emotions. But you can't take away from the human experience. So a self-help book is okay to read. It's okay to retain that knowledge, but don't expect somebody to live up to the standard of that book. People are going to have their flaws. They're going to make their mistakes. They learn from those, just like you learn from yours. So if you are looking for love, always walk into a situation with an open heart. Because if you don't, you're already setting yourself up for failure. Love in 2000 and love in 2020. I remember when you could listen to the radio any time of the day and there was a love song going. I remember my dad gave me a cassette player, and I used to take the cassette tapes, put it in, I record what was on the radio station, and then, I listened to that all day. You're not going to find those type of albums constantly being thrown out left and right. And half the albums or tracks that you hear nowadays, most of the love songs you hear are jaded. So the source of where you're learning consciously, you may not know it, but the sources that you're learning from are not always the best sources. So you have to protect yourself from those sources. I tell people all the time, I'm not the type of person that sits and watches shows like Love and Hip Hop and all these other shows that they have where you have rich people in these relationships on TV and it's a script. So they're going off a script and it's filled with drama. Now you got younger generations watching this exact same thing and they feel like that's the way it's supposed to be. That's not love. That's drama. If your relationship has drama in it, it should be your duty to keep as much drama out of it as much as possible. Because you set yourself up for failure. Same goes with telling your friends all of your business. What happens between you and whoever it is that you're dealing with stays between you and whoever it is that you're dealing with. So if you and your lady are having issues at home, those issues stay at home. The only other person that should be involved in those issues is God. For those that are religious, God is a big part of my life. And me personally, I won't go into a situation unless God is there, because I already know that situation is set up for failure. Spirituality and relationships are intertwined. If you are trying to pursue a relationship and you don't have a stable ground, a rock to stand on, then that situation is already set up for failure. Even if you don't believe in God, there is a spiritual presence there. So between you and your loved one, you guys need to make that work. You got to put in that work and that ethic or that effort to make sure that you are held together. Because if you don't, outside sources will ruin your relationship. And sometimes it's as simple as you talking to somebody at work. Hey, I have this issue at home and this is what we're going through. It's okay to talk to people, but they don't need to know all your business, because they might have had that same situation happen to them and they handled it a certain way, but that's not your loved one. So if you try and handle it the same way, you could push that person away, upset them. You never know. So you have to put in that work to figure out what it is that it's going to take for both of you to make your relationship work. It is also okay to say that this isn't for me. I had a couple situations in the past where it was hard to break up. And usually that's always going to be a thing. It's always going to be awkward. There's no right way to break up with somebody. There's plenty of wrong ways, through a text message, a note, over the phone. But there are no real right ways to break up with somebody, because somebody in that situation, if there are stronger emotions between the two, somebody's going to end up being hurt. The worst thing you can do is lead somebody on. So if you're unhappy inside of your relationship, keep it truthful. This isn't working for me. She start going off. Why isn't it working? What can we do? Keep it honest. I honestly just don't want to be with you. Should be a little butthurt, but she'll get over it. Plenty of fish in the sea for both of y'all. You got to learn to move on. But as long as you keep it honest, can't really be mad at you. This is Griot. Make sure you follow me at L_Griot88. That's EL_GRIOT88 on Twitter and IG.
You